Would you like to be less stressed, irritated, anxious, and learn how to stop overreacting? Who wouldn't, right? In any case, in this video, you will learn about one question that you can ask yourself in potentially irritating situations that will help you be a more peaceful and content person. Hey everyone, and welcome to Becoming an Expert at Self-Leadership, the channel that helps you guide yourself through the ups and downs of life. I'm Maika, and I'd like to start this video out with a personal experience that I made last week when I traveled to Vienna with family. For the way back home, I had booked a bus ticket that was supposed to take me straight back home from Vienna without needing to change or switch trains, which I was pretty happy about. And the bus was supposed to leave Vienna at 7 a.m. and the ticket said to be there at 6:30, which I found a bit unusual, but I thought, let me not jeopardize this. So I was there about 6:25, I'd say. And the first thing I noticed is that the bus was not there. And I thought, well, anyway, this happens. I'll just wait a bit. And time progressed. It got later and later, and the bus didn't show up. And I started feeling irritated since I had gotten up earlier than I would have, but the ticket said to be there 30 minutes early. And then I started asking around if I was at the right station. I showed people my ticket. I called 4 different numbers from that bus company and couldn't get any information as to where this bus was. And then I got more irritated and started feeling my body tensing up. I started feeling stressed and anxious, and I thought, this is my way home, and this journey will take 11 hours. Where am I going to find an alternative? And how late am I going to get home, or am I going to get home today? And then I remembered something I had read in a book, a question I asked myself that helped me not overreact in this situation and stay calm and peaceful. And that question was, is this my preference? Or is this a necessity? Is it my preference to take this bus, or is it a necessity that I take exactly this bus? And the obvious answer was that this was just my preference. Yes, I preferred to take this bus because it starts early in the morning and I wouldn't have to change buses. It would be very comfortable if I could take that bus. But was it a necessity? Not really. There was probably going to be some solution. I would find some other way of getting home. Or in the worst case, I'd stay another night and then leave the next day. I didn't have any appointments that I needed to get to. And another thing that I haven't mentioned is that my family was also still in Vienna, and they were taking the car halfway to where I needed to go. So I could also start out the journey with them and then switch onto another bus and get home. So as soon as I remembered that and that became clear to me, I felt how the tension left my body, how my nervous system calmed back down, and how I could just feel easy and chill about this whole situation. I made up my mind to wait a maximum of 30 minutes after the scheduled departure of the bus and then to just leave. And I ended up getting a text message from that bus company that the bus would be more than 3 hours late because of a traffic jam. And I went back to my family, took the car with them halfway, and then switched onto a bus. And I ended up arriving home even 1 hour earlier than that original bus would have arrived. And I could have a couple of extra nice conversations with my family. So this situation was not at all an emergency. But in that moment, when my thoughts started revolving around the bus isn't going to show up, it's early in the morning, I got up extra early to be here, what is happening, I spent money on this ticket, all of those thoughts, I felt irritated and stressed. But then when I asked myself, is this actually a necessity, this bus, or is it just a preference? It was just a preference. It was not a necessity. It was not a condition for anything that I needed to take that bus. So there's a lot of power in this question to help us stop fretting over things that aren't worth it, to help us stop sweating the small stuff and overreacting. Does this really have to be that way, or would I just prefer it to be that way? Is this a condition for a fulfilled life, or just a preference? And there's a world of difference between these two conclusions. A world that decides over how often you will feel irritated, stressed, and anxious throughout your day. This question helps us become aware that most of the pressure we experience, we create ourselves by demanding things to go we'd prefer them to go. And since we're creating that pressure ourselves, we are also the ones that can let go of it. And by the way, this question stuck with me from Richard Carlson's book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff, from the chapter, Repeat to Yourself, Life is Not an Emergency. And my favorite sentence from that chapter is, the first step in becoming a more peaceful person is to have the humility to admit that in most cases you are creating your own emergencies. Life will usually go on if things don't go according to plan. And this isn't to say that we should just live a life of bare necessity and stop pursuing our preferences. Of course, it's important to step in for what you want and doing things to make that happen. At the same time, there's a lot of power in being able to cope with when things don't go according to our plan, to be able to calm ourselves down and stop overreacting. And since it's such an important topic, here are some more ideas of what you can do to stop sweating the small stuff. Let others be right. What's more important? Your mental peace or being right? Of course, there are some things that need to be discussed, but I'd say that about 90% of the things that we debate heatedly with our fellow human beings are pretty irrelevant and just agitate our minds. So choose your mental peace over being right. It's worth it. Humor and nonchalance. Practice taking everything with a grain of humor. Don't be over serious. Remember to have fun. Pace yourself. No one can do everything. No one has to do everything. When we die, our email inbox will probably not be empty. Cut yourself some slack. You can reach your goals. Also, if you don't power through all of the time, I'd say you would probably even reach them better because you're in full possession of all of your energy. Don't let the seriousness in which you pursue your goals put so much pressure on yourself that your mental health suffers. Embrace imperfection. Chasing perfection is a race that no one can win. Life has its fair share of socks on the floor, spelling mistakes, and garden weeds, and that's okay. Assume goodwill. Assume that others are doing their best within their limitations. Mostly people are not out to get you or doing things because they disapprove of you. Passive problem solving. This means to rely on that background source of knowledge and intelligence that we all have, our intuition or gut feeling, and to know that we don't always have to work through everything with rational thinking. In fact, that can even trigger worry loops. Sometimes you can just drop it and go for a walk, and then you'll know because you relied on passive problem solving. And breathe consciously, breathe deeply, schedule quiet time, allow your nervous system to calm down regularly. Thanks for watching this. If you're new here, I would certainly prefer it if you subscribed. Support this channel by leaving a like, a comment, and sharing this video with your friends. Till next time, take care, and remember to ask yourself, is this my preference or a necessity?